Hey guys, it's PhoneArena, and today we're doing a side-by-side video comparison of the Apple iPhone 4 and the Motorola DROID X. The iPhone 4, of course, has been released already. It's available on the market for $199 with a 2-year contract for the 16GB version. And we have the Motorola DROID X, which is going to be available through Verizon starting July 15th at the same price point, $200 on contract. So if you haven't checked out our reviews on either handsets, go check them out so you get a little bit more in-depth look on both handsets. But seeing that they're both the two better handsets on their respective carriers, it's only fitting for us to check them out and pit them against one another. So let's take a look at the design of both handsets. And of course, the Apple iPhone 4, as we said in the past, it has a stellar design and quality workmanship with it. We like the premium feeling materials that it has, the glass-like material on the front and also on the back, which is sandwiched together with the stainless brush band. Overall, it feels really good in the hand. Construction feels solid, and it's pretty thin at 0.37 inches thick. But surprisingly, we're very happy to see and impressed also by Motorola and designing the DROID X. It's also thin, coming in at 0.39 inches thick, so it's slightly thicker, but we're surprised, especially when you consider the giant size screen it employs. On top of that, the choice of materials is similar to what we found on the Motorola DROID. It's made primarily out of this metal shell, which has a soft touch coating over it, which does a great job of repel scratches. And surprisingly, it doesn't feel that heavy or bulky when you compare it to the iPhone 4. And you hold the hand, you definitely notice the weight with the iPhone 4 versus the DROID X, even though the DROID X is slightly heavier. So we got to say that even though the iPhone 4 did manage to stir things up with its design, we're equally impressed with the DROID X just because of how streamlined it looks and fantastic quality it just embodies. Both handsets are actually quite different in terms of when you first look at them. Of course, the Motorola DROID X employs a 4.3-inch touchscreen display, which has a resolution of 480 by 854 pixels, and also support for 16 million colors. And we gotta say, if it's size that you want, definitely go with the DROID X. It just makes it look quite mammoth compared to the iPhone 4. On the other hand, the iPhone 4, of course, still has the same 3.5-inch display, has a resolution of 640 by 960 pixels, and also 60 million colors. But seeing that it's a smaller display and also higher pixel count, it has actually better pixel density, so you can read out the fine text a lot more easy on the iPhone 4 versus the DROID X. Especially in web pages, you could definitely see it quickly. Both handsets are phenomenal when used outdoors. Both have also great viewing angles, so you won't have any issues viewing it outside. But again, it's a matter of your taste whether you like something that's a little bit larger or just slightly more detailed. But both handsets are fantastic in their own regard. As you said on numerous occasions, the experience with the Apple iPhone 4 is the most simple and straightforward one out there versus anything else. It's very responsive, and any novice user or first-time owner will fit right in understanding how to move around the platform. It's very simple, as we said, and it just has also a new level of presentation, like you'll be able to choose your wallpaper now, and some multitasking elements that's thrown in, but unfortunately not all applications have that functionality built in or take advantage of it. Where on the DROID X, you have a lot of personalization, customizations. It's running Android 2.1 right now. It's powered by a 1 GHz processor inside, which makes it fly really quick, surprisingly just as fast as the iPhone 4's experience. And just as you can see, it has animated wallpapers, and there's a lot of neat stuff that integrates social networking to the mix, and just a peppy experience. And if you're looking for more of a customized and more personalized in-depth with social networking, you're probably better off with the DROID X. Now, when it comes to web browsing, both handsets actually work phenomenal. As you can see, the iPhone 4 has slightly smoother scrolling rates than the DROID X, but it doesn't take away from their overall functionality. The Retina display on the iPhone 4 makes even for the smallest text be quite legible versus the DROID X, but still, with its high resolution on the DROID X, it makes it very easy to see, and both handsets do a phenomenal job loading web pages. Obviously, neither handsets offer a physical keyboard, so you're going to rely on the on-screen ones for getting by as far as sending text messages. So on the iPhone 4, it has a great predictable text option, so it just knows exactly what you're trying to type. Where on the DROID X, it just has an ample size space, as you can see, a lot larger than the iPhone 4. It's even more relevant when you change it to landscape, as you can see that there's just a lot of space for the DROID X, and we found ourselves rarely making any typos with it. When it comes to the presentation of the music player, easily iPhone's cover flow just wins it compared to the Droid X. It just continues to be one of the better looking interfaces out there as far as browsing your selection of music. The Droid X though uses the stock Android player, so it might not look pretty or visually stunning, but thankfully it functions fine. And on top of that, the quality of the speakerphone on the Droid X is just superior. And there's also a lot of different equalizer settings to make it a lot better sounding than the iPhone 4. On the bottom, we have the Droid X with its 8 megapixel camera. On top, we have the iPhone 4 and its 5 megapixel one. And in the past, we've already been impressed by the iPhone 4's quality. And in this comparison, actually, the iPhone 4 still excelled. It just produced better, richer looking colors, more natural ones. And of course, detail is just a level that hasn't yet to be tested with the iPhone 4. Droid X does a great job and better than other handsets that we've seen of late. But even in nighttime conditions, the iPhone 4 still excelled as it produced better looking colors, where in the Droid X it just looks somewhat washed out. Both handsets have the ability to shoot 720p, but the iPhone 4 had slightly better frame rates at 30 frames per second versus the Droid X at 24 frames per second. But unfortunately, the iPhone 4 has some weird white balance issues, and in different lighting conditions, it just changes constantly, where on the Droid X, it just stays consistent, so the colors look balanced all the time. Hands down, the Motorola DROID X did a far better job in calling quality versus the Apple iPhone 4. On our end, callers were distinct and clear, no evidence of any background noise or distortion. And our callers' end, it was also clear to them thanks to the noise-canceling microphone. Unfortunately, the iPhone 4, there is a noticeable static and background noise you could hear on our end. Our callers did say they're still able to hear us thanks to the noise-canceling mic. The speakerphone quality on the DROID X is still superior to the iPhone 4 just because it's a little bit more vibrant, a little bit natural sounding. When it comes to battery life though, the iPhone 4 does edge out the Droid X. It managed to get one half day's use out of the battery before requiring recharge. On the Droid X, it just lasted a full day. We had both handsets set to the middle brightness settings, but again, you could always increase the battery life by closing out certain applications or just modifying some things with the handset. So there you have it, guys. That's pretty much it as far as the comparison goes. And to tell you the truth, both handsets are fantastic in their own regard. They're both probably the best handsets on their respective carriers. On one side, you have the iPhone 4, which has a lot of great, well-rounded features. Specific areas where it excelled in was, of course, the camera department. Taking photos and videos was still a lot better on the iPhone 4 than the Droid X. And on top of that, the front-facing camera does offer that novelty of video chat, which the Droid X does not. It's one thing that's missing heavily. The experience is also pretty simplified and straightforward, and we're pretty happy with the overall performance of iOS 4. On the Droid X though, if you want more customized experience, then definitely Android's the way to go. It's a really fast interface with the 1 GHz processor on board, the unique user interface that it has for social networking, large size display which easily dwarfs the iPhone 4's Retina display in size. Quality is still pretty good, might not be as detailed as the iPhone 4, but it works well. So if you'd like to learn more of either handsets, or for all the latest cell phone reviews, new specs, and information, you could check us out at PhoneArena.com.